Hello everyone, my name's Alan. I'm coming from Pembrokeshire College. I'm going to be doing some healthy dishes with you over the next few sessions. Today's first instalment will be healthy scrambled eggs. This won't take very long and it's done with some ingredients that you'll readily available. And we'll dive straight into it. Right, okay, so these are the ingredients that you'll be needing for this dish, okay? So we've got rapeseed oil, we have tomatoes, which we'll prepare those in a second. We have 4 large eggs, we have natural yoghurt, basil, and we have some spinach, which I've got over here ready to wilt in the pan, okay? For this you'll need, I'd say probably two pans. And what we're going to do, I'll just go through each stage of this with you in the preparation, then we'll turn over for the cooking, okay? So we'll take it nice and slowly. So first thing I'll do is cut my tomato in half, okay? So if I just zoom in on there a little bit. There we go. Move the jug out of the way, move these off the board. So what we'll do, we'll turn the tomato over and be very, very careful. I'm using a chef's knife here, but you can use a smaller knife if that's what you've got at home. Then what I'll do is I'll cut the tomato in half, and that's how we'll cook it, okay? Nice and simple. Then what we'll do, we'll crack our eggs in the pan. What I tend to do, I never crack my eggs on the corner of the jug, because what you'll find is inevitably you'll always get some shell that falls in, and then you'll be fishing for your shell, which is not good. So what I tend to do, just tap it on the workbench next to the jug, and then crack the egg into there, okay? So I'll do that with the others. I'll cook this real time, so you can actually see how quickly this takes to actually cook. It doesn't take long at all. 3, 4. That's where the time's going off. So we've got our 4 eggs. So what we'll just need to do, with a fork or a spoon or a whisk, just beat them together. And what we'll do, we'll put our yoghurt into there as well. And 2 tablespoons of water. Then we'll put some pepper in there. Decent helping of pepper. Cracked black pepper's best. And the basil. What you can do with the basil, you can either tear it or chop it, okay? So I'm just going to roughly chop it, because what will happen, this will wilt and infuse into the scrambled eggs as well, okay? So that goes in the bowl, in the jug too. Mix that through. Okay, and that is ready for cooking, okay? So next we'll pan over, and then we'll start doing the cooking of the actual dish. Okay. So now what we're going to do is start cooking the tomatoes, okay? So get your pan on a medium heat. Tablespoons worth of rapeseed oil. We're just going to bring that oil to temperature, and then what we'll do, we're going to add the tomatoes, cut side down, so we're going to cook it that way first, okay? That maximises the heat penetrating into the tomato, so it cooks a bit quicker, okay? So that's what we're going to do. But while they're cooking then, we're going to swap the pans over, and then we're going to wilt down the spinach, okay? And then that spinach will be folded into our scrambled eggs at the end. So it doesn't take very long at all, this dish. It's just a little bit of pan work, that's all. There we go, so that oil's come to temperature nicely now. So what we'll do, we'll add our tomatoes in. There we go, there's 1. There's 2. If you're not confident about putting tomatoes in a hot pan, you can always put your oil in, put your tomatoes in the pan cold, and then bring it up to temperature. Because obviously fat will start splitting when it starts getting a bit warmer. Okay, so we're going to start cooking these off just for a couple of minutes, and then we can move them over, and then we can bring the spinach forward, and we can start cooking the spinach. Again, the spinach will wilt. You always do spinach in a dry pan because it will wilt. There's lots of water in there, and as it wilts, the water will come out of it, okay? So you can see that's starting to spit a little bit now, so turn the temperature down. So we'll leave those cooking on a separate ring. Equally, if you don't want to do it on the cooker top, you can just roast those tomatoes in the oven in some more olive oil and a bit of cracked pepper. There you go. So now we'll bring the spinach forward, turn the heat up. Okay, so make sure you wash your spinach and you go through and check there's no bad leaves in there. Sometimes what people do, they tend to pull off the stalks. You can do that, it's just very time consuming. This is meant to be a very quick dish to do. Let's have a look. So I'll just turn my tomatoes over, and you can see now they're starting to take on a colour. So we'll just turn the heat down on those slightly. Now you can see the spinach starting to see some steam coming from the spinach. So we're just going to turn these over. There you go. Starting to wilt down there. With spinach, if you put the spinach in the pan, it looks quite a lot. It wilts down to next to nothing. Okay, so you just need to bear that in mind. You start to wilt down now. You can see it starting to become smaller in the pan. Right, so once it's started to wilt, just take it off the heat then, and the residual heat in the pan will actually finish that off for you, okay? So, now what we'll do, put a clean pan on. Now we're going to start cooking the scrambled eggs, okay? So, it doesn't take very long. Put a tiny splash of oil in there. So in here, as I say, we've got our eggs, our yoghurt, our basil and some white pepper, okay? The thing to remember with scrambled eggs is don't play around with them too much, don't stir them too much, because they'll start to go really buttery and dry. So tomatoes coming off the heat. They're done. So we've got our scrambled eggs on. Right, so they're cooking nicely. I'm just going to zoom in on the scrambled eggs a little bit. There we go. Gently stir these around. So scrambled eggs these scrambled eggs are quite healthy because of the yogurt, and obviously eggs have got protein, so they're a good source of protein with any meal. So what we'll do is we will finish cooking our tomatoes. Just going to turn them over once more. I've got a lovely caramelised on now. So I'm just going to stir these eggs through. Just on a medium heat. If you have them on too high a heat, they'll start to cook too quickly and they might burn. So there we go. So that's just folding those through. I'll just let those cook a bit longer. Spinach is pretty much done. And then I'll turn the camera off and then we'll pan the camera around so you can see how we'll plate it up then, okay? There you go. You're only cooking the eggs just until they start to set and then take them off the heat, and then, as I say, the residual heat will then finish the cooking process off for you. Because if you have dry eggs, they'll be very rubbery and they won't taste very nice. They'll be nice on the palate. There we go. So they're done. So turn the heat off. You might be able to see there. They're just set. Just leave them in the pan for a minute or so, okay? And then just give them one last stir before we plate up. So we'll pan around now to the dish, to the plate, and we'll plate the scrambled eggs up. Right, so here we are. We've got our final dish here. So it didn't take very long at all. So what we'll do a bit of the spinach just on the side of the plate. Then we've got our tomatoes. Now, what I tend to do with my tomatoes, I put some cracked pepper over the top. obviously there's no salt in this dish because obviously this is a healthy option. There we go, there's 2 lovely fried tomatoes. Then what we'll do is just give that a nice little stir over. And just make sure that's mixed through. Then on the edge of the plate, scrambled egg with basil, spinach, fried tomato. Delicious.